growing in the 2024 presidential race, with former Vice President Mike Pence and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum entering the race. The total number of Republican candidates now stands at 12. This comes as two Democrats are challenging President Biden for the White House in the Democratic primary. That's RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson. And just this week, a third-party candidate jumped into the race, Dr. Cornel West, who launched his bid as a member of the People's Party. And Dr. West joins us now. So, Dr. West, let me start with the obvious question. How are you running to win, or are you running to get your issues of importance that you think Joe Biden is not paying enough attention to the forefront?
Well, I mean, one, my dear brother, that you always have a calling to win. You want to bear witness at the highest level of quality, integrity, and honesty that you can. So, yes, I'm trying to push toward the finish line. Why? Because I want to reintroduce America to the best of itself. And it's fairly clear that Brother Trump, neo-fascist gangster, not the best. Brother Biden, neoliberal hypocrite, not the best. I want the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., Dorothy Day, Abraham Joshua Heschel, and Edward Said, and Chief Joseph, and Grace Lee Boggs, and Louise Moreno. These are those fighting for poor and working people. Both parties stand in the way of the empowerment of poor and working peoples. Both parties tied Wall Street, militarism, Pentagon, tied to Silicon Valley. What about the 60% of precious Americans of all colors who are struggling every day and month to put food on the table and are hardly doing it, while the 1% is simply tied to their quests for the luxurious life? American democracy not just is at stake, the whole planet, Brother Jake. You know that, man, with fossil fuels. And look at the debt ceiling agreement. We can make a deal with Brother Manchin in terms of his pipeline that will do in not just working class people's spaces, but ecological collapse, given what's going on the East Coast. But we can't make a deal with him in terms of voting rights in regard to the filibuster. That's Brother Biden. We need something better. Where's the best of the country?
Yeah.
Not just the working people here, but around the world. Because the militarism abroad is something that I'm deeply concerned about, be it in Latin America, be it in Africa, be it in the Middle East.
So,
hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics. Free-thinking, innovative, totally open-minded. This is Tommy Nation Politics, your new independent progressive media. And I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Jamar Jabari of the Voice of Change podcast. We had a rousing discussion on the unsavory politic, his Voice of Change segment, where we talked about the current political events of the day and what measures that we as progressives or leftists or citizens of the United States of America, the measures we must take to secure the promotion of the general welfare and the saving of our posterity, the curbing of our civil liberties, and the neoliberal policies that Cornel West spoke of have been going on for 50 years, Jamar. 50 years and probably longer, ever since Reagan fired the air traffic controllers and showed unions exactly who owns the United States president. Not you, buddy. I don't work for you, buddy. Ever since that, it's been going on just the same way. We've had income inequality, not just the Gilded Age. You know what's funny, Jamar, before you stop, we have Michael, of course, on the show. He's not really understanding anything that's going on. He's just saying, oh, God, and stuff. I love how he likes to watch us, even though he has no idea what's going on. But, Michael, we were thinking about you today because Trump's got indicted again. So we wonder how more knucklehead morons like you square this with your reality. But I did ask Jamar a question. We're going to go ahead and ignore the knucklehead for a second. Get to real political business. Jamar, what about the neoliberal policies? Can they be stopped? Can we get our government back and by the people for the people? What do you think?
At this point, we need a. Honestly, it's just very sad, in my opinion. It seems that once Trump left office, a lot of just lax and thinking everything is just going to be better. The same type of notion that you saw during the Obama 2 terms. You know, a lot of people just thought things would be great. They trust right into the Democrats' hands. And at the end
Right
of
in
the
their
day,
hands.
at the end of the day, it's not. I mean, like we're still having all these wars. We got new wars happening. We're sending all this money to a country that no one even thought about
Oh, we
before
thought
Biden
about
was
it,
in
though. Jamar, to
office.
be fair, Ukraine has been known as the most corrupt country in the world for a long time.
Yep. Oh
In
yeah.
fact, the New York Times did article after article about it before the Burisma thing.
Yep.
Before the Burisma and the fake energy board seat
Yep.
that Hunter Biden was a part of, the New York Times used to go off on Ukraine on a daily basis, bro.
Yep.
Talk about how corrupt it was. And I think that our elected leaders have gone even farther than Ukraine or any official there by giving
Yep.
war crimes, facilitating war crimes via Zelensky and his cluster bombs.
Yep. And let's talk about real quick the compare and contrast with what Ukraine is given compared to Biden giving here. Um, for instance, they talk about unemployment. Um, it's very hard for people to find jobs now. And they say they're creating these new jobs, blah, blah, blah. Every politician say that, but the poverty is still there. The health care, they took away abortion. Uh, the Supreme Court is now saying that businesses can deny service to gay couples or anyone on that queer spectrum.
Oh, denying service. Well, that sounds constitutional, where all
Yeah,
men are created equal, endowed by their creator with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and happiness.
democracy here,
What do
the
these people have to
republic.
say?
Yeah, they're segregationists. They're
It's a
segregationists.
mockery of
Yeah,
our constitutional values. The things that are being implemented in the name of the United States of America with our birthright. Nothing makes me
affirmative
even more
action
mad.
being attacked. You know, a lot of things are being attacked in this country. And you look at the contrast with Ukraine, they're getting their police departments fully funded by our tax dollars. They're getting their hospitals fully funded by our tax dollars. They're getting a whole lot of benefits to keep the country running. Socialist ideas, mind you, and this is something that goes on with every country we fund. They get free healthcare. They can give free healthcare to the people that they want to use as pawns for their regime, but they can't give free healthcare to their constituents here. They can't give free college to
So
their constituents here.
let's. What we need to do, though, Jamar, is we need to explain to the knuckleheads and to people that don't have nuanced critical thinking skills that the reason we don't have universal health care isn't because we're broke.
Right.
Because clearly we were shelling $500 billion to another country.
Yeah.
So that other country could launder that money to the corporations, the international corporations that are building Ukraine. And so those corporate donors could then funnel that money to their war chests of the politicians so they could literally stay in office for perpetuity. It's a cycle of corruption.
I mean, look at APAC. It's the
Our country is more
biggest.
corrupt than any other country. It has reached that pinnacle. And the reason we have the explanation for that is a game show host. These Democrats are talking about spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Who decided that we would rather literally vote for a game show host than for you guys? We had to vote for a game show host for you guys to stop invading Syria, for you guys to literally pay attention to the streets and crime and brutality of the United States government, the deep state that surveils our data and uses it for corporate interests to bribe and manipulate us into buying more products
Yeah,
and keeping us poor.
I agree
A
with that.
cycle of poverty.
Right. I mean, look at what
So,
Biden has done in contrast to that. He has spent even more money on the police. He has even tried to put in a ministry of truth to basically try to say by the government law who has given out fake news or fake information, and they're trying to do that again, but they've renamed
right.
it. So
So,
what the hell?
I, so this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the deep state, which is what Trump talks about. We're talking about income inequality, which is real, right? We're talking about inflation, which the Republicans like to talk about, right? So how come there's a message on Savage Podcast? It's not getting through to him, Jamar. Your guest told you to stop this nonsense, Tommy. This nonsense.
What nonsense,
This nonsense
actually?
of saying, I don't know. Like literally, these guys, they're just as bad as the Democrats and Republicans. Just the other day, James Carville. Oh, we can't prove this for sure. We don't know it for sure, but we know that if they didn't vote for Jill Stein, well, they definitely would have voted for Hillary. There's no polls to suggest that.
No.
There's absolutely no evidence to carry that into water. These guys are making literal things shit up and feeding it to these knuckleheads. And that's all they think. Nonsense.
Yeah.
If you could literally just give me a specific fucking example of what my nonsense is, when we're clearly polarized, you don't understand what I'm fucking saying. And Joe Biden just rose taxes on your ass and gave your tax dollars to Zelensky. But you think I'm speaking nonsense? I don't know how to get through to you. How do I get through to you?
And to speak on the Green
I'm not
Party,
the one speaking nonsense, bro.
the Green Party
I'm the one
brings in
pointing
new
out
voters.
they're robbing us. That's what I'm pointing out.
Yeah.
If you don't think they're robbing us, you're retarded. End of story. Anyway, Jamar, go ahead. So, what were you saying?
Speaking of the Green Party, the studies show that the Green Party does not really steal votes from Democrats. In fact, they inspire new voters to vote. We're living in a country that wants a third party. 47% last study showed that they are
Right.
undecided voters. The 21%
Right.
are Republican, and the 27% is Democrat. So we're living.
So my faith, yeah.
Oh,
The
go
faith
ahead.
in humanity is no. I was just gonna say with those stats are true, and my faith in humanity is somewhat restored in the fact that we don't have these Trumpists and these Bidenites.
Yeah.
We actually have awake people that realize exactly what's going on and want to actually come together, like we did in Lexington and Concord.
Yeah.
So how do you think? So my thing is, Jamar, is the fact that we have to learn from the mistakes of the Bernie Sanders campaign. That's why I have got this fire, because I'm, like I told you on Unsavory Politic, I've been having flashbacks about this campaign.
Mm.
They pull out exactly the same smears that they did in 2016, Russian asset.
Yeah.
They pull out the exact same fucking goodie basket of smears, lies, and censorship. And I don't think that they should deserve to get away with it again. I mean, they didn't get away with it last time. Their polls showed Hillary was up everywhere. And come election day, a game show fucking host was president. So your fucking polls and your fucking conventional wisdom is shit. Now we got to finish the job. The job. So how do we do that? How do we turn an intellectual academic who is a Christian man and loves humanity? How do we get him to the dark side, bro, where he can start ripping the heads off Anderson Cooper and CIA operatives in the media?
Well,
and stop calling them brother. How do we get him to do that? Question.
Well, I don't know if you can ever stop the rhetoric of the great Dr. Cornel West, who has been a part of our struggle for decades upon decades.
Yeah.
I don't know if
we have the left. We respect that. Right. The independents and Republicans don't respect anything like that.
Right.
They respect strength.
Yeah.
Ask Michael. What do you think about Trump? He's strong. No one said that. You have to exude strength. You can't exude strength when you're calling your enemy's brother, and you say he's a good friend, Joe Biden.
But what I do like
bro,
about
this is the road I like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what I do like about Dr. Cornel West is that he's willing to travel to talk to people that are only voting Republican or are a libertarian or on some spectrum of moderate center or center right. He's willing to talk to them. He's not exercising them like Biden would do, because Biden won't go to these areas.
Right.
I mean, Biden didn't want to go to South Palestine.
Biden doesn't want to go to the Rose Garden.
No.
Biden wants to stay in the basement because he's literally demented.
No.
So,
in order for Cornel West has the hardest job out of everybody for third party, but being a part of the Green Party can help boost him, because Jill Stein helped build in her campaign alone. She had ballot status for almost 25 or something states, and then the Howie Hawkins. I don't want to give him that much credit because nobody likes him. He's being ostracized because of his stances. He sounds DNC.
He was supposed to be a leftist.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a leftist, and he agrees with all of their fucking decisions. The Democrats.
Yeah,
the Democrats are not left.
And he got kicked out.
It's not a left-right issue. This is a upstairs and downstairs issue.
Right.
That's what this is.
And he got kicked out.
So
So good on the Green Party for getting rid of that fuck.
Yeah, but that's what I was asking you on It's Every Politic, their infrastructure now. Now that Howie Hawkins is out, there's a new administration, a new nominee. And are they as organized as the Democratic and Republican parties to make sure that they get the ballot access necessary to upset a duopoly system?
Now they definitely
they have that organization.
They definitely can do it. They can do it. But let's not think that the Green Party is not as fractured as any other party is. There's a lot of different factions of the Green Party that have different politics. Some are more right, some are more left.
It's time to unite.
But
it's time for a coalition, bro.
Right.
You think Cornel West can achieve that coalition?
Yeah,
the Obama coalition.
I think he can do that. I really do. I know that you don't think that he sounds strong enough. That's where we differ.
I'm on his side.
I think
I want to win though.
Yeah,
I want to win though.
Yeah, you're right. I see the bloodthirsty in you, but
I'm on his side. I want to win.
I'm
tired of losing.
They probably have to get a lot of signatures in all these states, so we need people to vote. So you got to volunteer if you have the time to do it, and you're in the state.
Yeah.
And you hear about Cornel West trying to get in the ballot, sign that motherfucker and volunteer, get involved, because that's the best way to do it.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah,
it's a great suggestion, Jamar.
Because here's the thing: in the Clinton era, they made it impossible for the third parties to get a chance to be a part of the presidency. This was a thing to make sure it stays two-party system between Republican and Democrats. They did this by law on their own. So
it's a gang. It's a gang banging fucking. What do they call it? Well, when you're doing when you're in Florida and you want to rent out a house. What do you call that shit? It's a gang banging. One of those things. You Floridians know what I mean, Michael. Yeah. What am I talking about? They're renting out your fucking condo. It's a condo.
And I can't think of the condo. I can't think of the candidate right now, but
hey, Michael.
It was a candidate.
Michael, if a black academic told you to stop voting for a game show host and actually have a tangible, response to the principles and values of our country, and try to regain those by uniting, you put up with him. If a black guy said that to you though, and he calls you brother, would you listen to him, Michael? Just answer me that, bro. Or would you call him a socialist and just fucking ignore him because he's black, and
even though you
don't like him because he's probably I know. So is Orwell. He likes Orwell though. He loves Orwell. He doesn't. He is the only socialist Michael likes is Orwell. Anyway, didn't know. Oopsie. But this is my dilemma, bro. Because I like my indie news, my indie news network. We had some arguments about this.
What?
They think that they can literally unite these white nationalists with the war issue, with the money issue, right? And I feel like deep down, maybe this is my bias. Maybe I'm just going to confess this. I feel like these white nationalists are so racist, so entrenched in their supremacy, that they refuse to literally even acknowledge people with pronouns. Like, do you think that they really want to come together with us on anything? They hate us too much. They bomb churches, bro, just to keep black people from voting. These guys have gone through great lengths to not do progress, bro. So how is this going to work with working with right wingers on issues we can agree on if they hate us?
Now listen,
what do you think?
I come from a cloth from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which I'm taking a break from. But what I have learned in those teachings that basically, I loved indie news. They have a lot of great stuff. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm against their ideas, and I get why they want to do what they want to do. But at the end of the day, when you're working with extreme right wingers on anything, they still have their agenda, and you have yours, and you're not going to mesh together. Like they're saying F the Ukraine war, but that's because they want war with China. That doesn't mean they don't want to stop war. They want to just switch the war. They don't want.
Michael just heard. But what about my condo? That's all he heard from this. So.
They just want to switch the wars up. They want to push for right wing legislation, and they would never agree with our legislation. So our job is to not build this coalition with established right wingers. We should be building coalition with workers that don't don't fully understand politics, that don't care. You should try to inspire them to care. Try to inspire them to want to build working power, unionize, all these type of things. Because the only way we can fight this system, there's multiple ways. You can either do on the ballot box, or you can build a worker struggle so strong where people are starting to unionize, and the government has no choice but to yield. You can uh, overthrow the
No
government.
choice but to yield.
Overthrow.
No choice but to
I
yield.
mean, well, we had made them yield before, in the 60s when we fought
Yeah,
anti-war, civil rights
True.
movement. That was a revolutionary time. They thought that we were about
They
to.
didn't have a fucking pandemic. They didn't have a Wuhan strain in a laboratory, bro.
No, they didn't.
In the 60s.
But
Did they?
I don't think
Okay.
there was a pandemic in the 60s. I know that there was a pandemic in like the 20s. No, before the 20s, because that was the Roaring 20s, the whole purpose of it, because people
You
survived the
two are
Spanish.
about personalities over principles. I don't know what that means.
It's about
Saying bullshit.
inspiring the people, Michael. It's
I
about
don't know.
giving
He's just saying
somebody
shit,
something
bro.
to believe in, and not some dull message about woke culture that DeSantis dumbass wants to just think he's going to win
bro.
the presidency for.
Nah.
It's about
Now, you see,
actually
there's an alpha.
understanding the
There's an
working
alpha.
class.
There's a hierarchy. There's an alpha. He tells you what to do, and you do it because you're a good nigger, and you lick the boots.
And Trump,
These guys, they're literally almost.
Trump's about to go to prison.
They used to call us niggers.
He's gonna go prison.
They literally acted like niggers, bro, with Trump. They're literally like Trump's niggas, bro.
One of my friends, Influence, he has a poem
niggas.
about that. Like what you're saying right now, he has a whole poem about that.
They really are, bro.
I gotta sing you it.
Isn't it ironic, bro? They call us niggas and they literally Trump's niggas.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I gotta sing you it.
But anyway. I don't know, man. Wrong pandemics twice, 46. Okay, so they did pull that shit the whole time. Thank you for verifying that, Michael. Even though I don't really trust your research. But 20s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s? Could you name all those pandemics, Michael?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I like how you mentioned Reagan, because Reagan's a very important figure in our American history that we need to remember, because he was an actor, a celebrity.
He was the SAG. He was right. He worked for a union, right?
Yeah,
was
he was in the SAG union. He was an actor for a long time. Reagan to Republicans is the peak of what a Republican could be. Under his term, the USSR fell because of
said no.
Yeah.
The
USSR fell. Gorbachev was an idiot to even trust in this motherfucker. You had the war on drugs.
Gorbachev didn't know that, bro.
No. Gorbachev wanted to build relations.
He didn't know we were evil.
He wanted to make it normal. He wanted to get more access for the unions, but he failed because he trusted in Reagan. Which he should never fucking did.
And so that's a really good point, Jamar. So my point is after 50 years of literally being lied to, how are these Democrats and Republicans even getting votes anymore? How are they doing this? How is it just the guilt trip of the spoiler propaganda?
No, it's the media. They control the media, and the media has done a great job on influencing the people to the point that they have no choice but to join a cult. It's either that's not a pandemic. That's an economic.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Era.
He thinks the Great Depression was a pandemic, bro. Just let him, bro. He's white. He can do it.
Okay.
Go, Michael.
But
you did it, bro. You did it.
That's an economic decline. And
you're superior, bro. Great Depression was a pandemic. Anyway, so
yo, stop egging him on. Stop egging him on.
I literally, he fucking tickles the shit out of me. How retarded he is, bro.
Yo,
I literally am fucking laughing all day long at his dumb, retarded shit, bro. He's literally calling people groomers while Joe Biden's in the White House, untouched.
Yeah.
He's all of the things that he agrees with, he's literally anti-proactive to all of the things.
Biden has so many policies that are compared to Trump. They definitely have a lot more in common than people actually realize. The Democrats.
Pandemics are great epidemics. Great epidemics. So the great pandemics are great epidemics. So let's do with the Great Depression. I'm sorry, Jabbar. I'm going to focus on you. I'm sorry. I'm having so
Maybe
much
he's
fun.
trying to say something, but I don't really understand what
I
he's
don't
saying.
understand, bro.
Because
I don't get it. Pandemics are great.
the Great
Pandemics.
Depression isn't something you could catch and
Academics.
get sick about. Like, I thought we were talking about
Okay,
like
so
COVID
now
and
you
swine
know how
flu and Spanish flu.
you know how like a Trump like when he said grab you by the pussy for like a week he pretended that like he wasn't the one on the tape. So now Michael's doing the same thing. He's like, this isn't Michael, by the way. He's pulling the Trump, bro. He got caught in the fucking Billy Bush tape being retarded, and now he's like pretending he's not Michael. I love right wingers, bro. They're hilarious. But anyway, okay, so we've had enough fun with that.
Yeah.
We've revealed the dumb white wingers. So now let's talk about like the solutions though, because my solution is to go on the offensive with the Green Party. I was talking to Delilah Barrios. She was making a lot of sense about people's perspectives and the hope that they have in the Green Party, the trust they have in the Green Party. It hasn't really been built, but at the same time, I will have to say my criticism on Delilah's commentary is that she didn't have any ideas to go on the offensive to attack these parties, and that's what they need to. These parties need to be attacked. They haven't been attacked.
Excuse me.
They think this insurrection was an attack. These parties haven't been attacked, bro. They're unscathed, and the media manufactures consent for their nefarious agendas. We have to attack them, especially after the Bernie Sanders campaign. We've got to find a way. What do you think? Do you think Jill Stein has an idea on how to deal with James Carville, David Brock,
I mean,
and the other hatchet men in the Democratic Party?
Jill Stein has been so like attacked by liberals. They blame her for Trump. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And it's so bad
they
to the
blame
point.
Susan Sarandon, bro.
Yeah.
They blame Susan Sarandon too.
I feel bad
She's a
for
fucking
her.
actress.
I wonder how she's able to do what she can do. I mean, I saw her speech in New York, and she's just strong and such a fact checker. She's an incredible woman.
She's smart.
I have so much
Very smart
respect
woman.
for
She's a
Jill
doctor.
Stein. And I wish that liberals see this in a way as how the country is seeing that we need a third party. We need multiple third parties. We a lot of people are not caring anymore the two-party system. I mean, I showed a video on the show we was on earlier. You came late, unfortunately, but I started the show off with Chris Cuomo talking about how he's anti two party system now.
I saw that clip. I loved it.
Chris Cuomo.
They fired his ass. That's why.
He's off the leash.
They dishonored they destroyed his brother.
Yeah.
Just to protect Biden. Again, these are all sacrifices for this administration, bro.
Yeah.
Cuomo, sacrifice.
Cuomo.
Bernie Sanders, sacrifice for this administration.
But Bernie Sanders is still there, which is pissing me off. After they effed you over, you're still there.
He's done. He's done, bro. He's done. He's like, but to me, he's fucking Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah.
For really.
Yeah.
So, guys, Michael has revealed himself to now be Michael again. For a second he was someone else, but now he's Michael again, and he says, "Let's hear from your 3-person audience, Tommy." So he's doing the Trump thing where large numbers matter more than facts and stuff. And what else does he say? Can you just say you need a one-party system to eliminate? So Michael says you need a one-party system to eliminate the divide. That's fascism.
I will only agree with that. It was led by workers, not by fucking bourgeoisie, rich motherfuckers. No.
You guys, I think both of you need to read the Constitution again, just one more time. But anyway, just like literally, you guys scare me with your. I mean, maybe I'm just. I've been criticized as being a little bit too constitutional, But I really like the Constitution.
I know
the
you
promise
do,
of the Constitution. I think the promise literally was great. We should
we're
fulfill
looking to redo the Constitution.
Fulfill that shit.
We're looking to literally make a new Constitution.
Y'all just want fascism, right? Fascism with workers.
I want workers.
Bootlickers?
I want workers to be in the Senate. I want workers to be in Congress. I want workers to be in the Supreme Court. I want workers to be dictating how our country should be going, because workers know what workers are going through, not these rich fucks that make hundreds of thousands of dollars, 6-figure, multiple fucking sick leave, unlimited hours.
Go parachute. Just Bob Iger. He was literally he gave himself a salary of fucking $72 million.
Like,
that's cool when you can literally pay your own decide your own salary and pay your salary.
Right.
out of the company.
This is the shit
Isn't
that
that
makes
robbery?
me want to rant.
I thought that was robbery.
This is the shit that makes me want to rant because
No, but they worked hard, bro. They worked hard. Don't worry.
politicians in Cuba, in parliament, they still work. They are required to work of certain days out of the week, and then they go back and do legislation. Now, why is it the law for them to go to work and then go back to legislation? Why? So they can understand what it's like to be a worker. And they don't get
Right.
paid six fucking figures and be all bougie and shit. No, they don't get that luxury. They are working class people like you and me, and they work and they know what it's like to be a worker. And then when they do legislation, they have the mindset of what the working class wants. They're always in their communities. They're always talking to their people.
But Jamar, isn't that aren't you describing someone like AOC, who ended up selling out her fucking own neighborhood and her own fucking movement
No,
for Nancy Pelosi?
AOC is fucking Trump compared to these true left motherfuckers that are in Cuba that are in parliament. They send their doctors all over the fucking world. They help stop the AIDS crisis. They helped Italy when they were dealing with COVID. They even helped South Africa during the apartheid when our country supported the apartheid in South Africa. I'm talking about true revolutionaries. I'm not talking about some dumb ass person that had a startup and then she's saying she's a worker because I was a bartender for a few times. I'm talking about real revolutionaries, real ones.
So I agree with you, and I hope those people are still out there. I think Cornel West might be one.
Sorry, I got mad for a second.
No, I mean I agree. I am glad. I'm glad I'm not the only mad person here, bro. So I understand your anger, bro. I just don't understand all of this communist, socialist, gender, Cuban socialist.
They put their
I don't
lives on
understand.
the line to get rid of
I
Batista.
know.
Batista was a very harsh dictator.
He doesn't know any
Cuba
of that.
was the last country to abolish slavery in the world.
He just doesn't like Hispanics
in the
and blacks and
world,
gays,
the
bro.
last country to abolish slavery in the world. That's how fucked up it was.
So Michael's making my point that how can you talk to these guys? They just spew out shit, words that they don't understand. Well, I'm not even joking or making fun of them. I feel sad sometimes. Like he literally is not on the same page as any human being. So it's just like, how can you get through to other people that are literally living the same nation you are? They're experiencing the same brutality when it comes to, the government overreach,
Right.
and yet all they can do is spew out words they would never look up in a dictionary. It's just a sad state of affairs.
Well, I have some encouragement for you. The world is indeed changing. There was a summit for the EU, but it was actually a summit for the EU in Latin American countries. And the EU was shown this time to be weak and had nothing to offer. They just wanted people to stand in solidarity with Ukraine. Latin America showed up in that summit. Latin America talked about how we want to build countries that are for our people and centers the voices of working class people in those countries. You see all these progressives all over Latin America, and they tried to rebuttal and try to come after Cuba or Venezuela, and you saw the same Latin countries not only defend and speak on the behalf of those countries that they ostracized, but you even saw the DR of all places. The DR even talk about how there needs to be more more representation of honor and respect for Latin American countries. They told that to the the EU, and the EU had nothing to say. They couldn't talk out against reparations. They couldn't talk out against the colonialism that they brought to Latin America. They had no choice but to sit there and listen. Why? Because they lost the power. And where did they lose the power to? They gave it to the US, and the US took it, swallowed it whole, and gave them nothing in return. And now they're seeing how it is to be embarrassed by people that have seen what you had to offer, and now they're on to a totally different level. Latin America is going to show an example to these assholes of how things are going to change. They have no choice but to humble themselves. The dollar's falling now. The dollar is falling now. BRICS nation is rising.
The empire is crumbling. The emperor has no clothes.
Persia
all is being revealed.
failed.
Everything's being revealed.
Rome failed. The Ottoman Empire failed. Babylon fell. All these nations were supposed to be great here forever. America only been around for less than 300 years.
Less than 300 years, but they made a really good splash by organizing a democratic republic in which all life, liberty, and happiness was observed by men created equal and endowed by the Creator with those rights. It's like a pretty cool thing, I think, personally. But
You
guys, I just want to let you
love,
know,
yeah,
it's literally it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy,
I
Jamar.
know.
Honestly, to me, it's like Cinderella
But I respect that you
and the
believe in
glass
it.
slipper.
I respect that
It's
you
no,
believe in it. You know what I mean?
maybe I believe in it like Cinderella. Maybe I believe it's a fairy tale, but it's definitely something that I grew up loving and I will love for the rest of my life. And I think that's our heritage.
And I
We
respect
should
you
go
for
to
that,
it.
Tommy. I love the fact that you are true to your fucking beliefs and you don't take bullshit. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
I respect
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I take bullshit at work, but not when I'm
I
off.
mean, you got
Not
to
unless you're paying me.
because you get paid.
Pay my bills. You give me bullshit, pay my bills. That's all I have to say. And guys, you can also contribute to Tommy Nation Politics podcast on PayPal or Cash App. Tommy Nation Politics, capital T, capital N, capital P. We're trying to make a institution that can rival the mainstream media, manufacture consent for the nefarious schemes and plans of tyrants that have usurped the reins of government. Jamar, so before we close, I just want to. We talked about how this country has slipped into corruption that we haven't really seen. It's really it's a new low, and these cluster bombs are just an example of how we argue about war crimes, and at the same time we facilitate war crimes, the same war crimes we had 4 months ago been fear mongering about. So I want to show your clip about Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki, my favorite MSNBC host.
For the next episode for Unsavory Politic, we're going to talk about RFK, of course. We're going to talk about what's going on with the polls for the GOP and also a DNC race and also third party.
What? Is that all I got? What the fuck? Okay, so could you just explain what happened? What was going on? What you're talking about?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, we have to be very, very concerned of what's happening right now. Before I even talk about the cluster bombs, because there's talks of Poland trying to get involved, and Poland secretly has claimed land of Ukraine, the western side and stuff. Europe has so many border changes and switch ups 24/7. I'm so surprised people even give this whole modern day Ukraine an actual legitimacy because it's been switched up forever. So, anyway, that's an issue. Might be a world war because of that. Because Poland is a NATO ally. That's something to think about. The cluster bombs, on the other hand, sources have shown that Russia has been using cluster bombs, but a lot of sources are showing that they have been using cluster bombs strategically. My issue is that you should not be using cluster bombs, period, because it's a war crime. Putin said that we have every right to use these, blah, blah, blah. Putin, I disagree with you. Jen Psaki was right when she said, if you use cluster bombs, it's a war crime. Now,
Yeah, she was right 4 months ago.
yeah,
Now the tables have turned, and
now,
now we're the war criminals.
now we're bringing out
How
cluster bombs.
we always end up being the war criminals, bro. At the end of the day, it's always us.
And
Us
everybody's
and our
like
800
defending it.
U.S. bases around the world.
Yeah. Everyone's defending the
So,
cluster bombs because they're like, oh, well, Russia did it. I'm like, bro.
or you got Simps, you got Trump Simps talking about they're obsessed with socialism and communism, and they can't see anything besides their own fucking fears and
Russia's not
conspiracy
a
theories.
communist country.
I know.
It's
I mean,
capitalist.
he probably knows that. He's just saying shit. They like to say it's like Tourette's. Socialism, communism, socialism, communism.
Like,
That's all I do.
I mean, for
But they love
instance,
Orwell. Why do you think they like Orwell?
I don't
Why do you
know.
think they like Orwell so much?
I always
Don't
tell
you think it's an
people
interesting
that
question?
if you think that Putin is a communist, you should listen to his speeches because he talks a lot of shit about Lenin. He talks a lot of shit about Stalin.
Is he talking about his fucking lawsuits and his Art of the Deal book?
No.
And his steaks and his vodka?
No.
And dating his daughter? Is he talking about dating his daughter?
No.
Is he talking about grabbing women by the pussy and cheating on his fucking tax returns?
He did ban sex changes. Is
he talking about raping people and saying you look like my wife Marla, but I don't like you?
No.
Okay.
But cluster bombs are dangerous because they can last in the field for a while and If you come in contact with them, you will die. Um, a lot of civilians have died compared to the actual enemies that they have been fighting. It's just a very reckless thing. Israel has used these cluster bombs, and no one said anything about it because Israel's our ally. So, like, it's
We,
just
we talked about the Saudis. We talked about Khashoggi to the Saudis, and they didn't forgive us.
yeah.
So can't talk to Israel. They might literally fucking do bricks too. Talk to
It's
them.
even to the point that Laos, who we haven't bombed for a long time, farmers are afraid to even do their job still to this day because there's cluster bombs. You know what I mean? So this is definitely going to destroy um, the eastern side of Ukraine because they're only going to use that on the eastern side.
Whoa.
Biden said that they're running out of ammunition, so they
Yeah.
have no
Right.
choice but to give them.
They're winning the war though. Isn't this
Right?
funny? The funniest bullshit you've ever heard.
Yeah,
They're
they're
winning the
winning
war.
the war, but they running out of shit. That makes no
Hey, guess
sense.
what, Jamar? Russia is a communist nation, idiot.
No,
There's
it's
fucking
not.
oligarchs, so it's obviously fucking communist. Because
If you
communism has
listen to
oligarchs,
Putin's
right?
speeches,
See,
no,
these
let
guys
me
don't even know what
address.
communism is.
Let me
These guys,
address
oh my
Michael real
god,
quick.
they're so dumb. There's
Michael,
oligarchs in Russia. You
two,
idiot!
yeah.
There can't be oligarchs in communism, you fucking idiot!
Well, China actually has oligarchs though,
You
but
keep telling me they're not communism.
they killed them. They killed them when they
Oh,
fuck up.
yeah, they killing their oligarchs. You killing hey, supreme white nationalist friend. Are you upset about the killing of the oligarchs that are not happening in Russia because they're not communist?
The
Are
reason
you
why
upset
I
that you
said,
have absolutely no proof that Russia's a communist country?
yeah, Russia's not a
Are
communist
you
country.
upset that you're living in the fucking Cold War era and you need to get your tinfoil hat out of your fucking
Jamar is
ass
uneducated.
and
That's
stop
not
fucking
racist
doing
at all.
fentanyl? All you guys are doing fentanyl. That's why it's such a concern to you guys.
No,
Y'all are
that's
all on fentanyl. You really
it's
are.
not an argument. The argument
Anyway,
of saying Russia is still a communist country is a very dumb
they're
argument.
all on
It's not.
fentanyl, bro. That's the
Listen,
reason why they're talking about it. Go ahead.
all right, whatever. Cluster bombs. Your definition is probably better. Whatever the fuck you talking about. Anyway,
Wait, what?
um,
What'd you
he's
say?
talking about my definition of defining what cluster bombs are. I
Yeah.
wasn't defining what they are. I was defining the impact that they give and how many innocent people suffer and die and how they stay in the land and you could get killed being fucking near them and all
Right.
that shit like that.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
They're like IEDs that injure American citizens, and they come home without limbs.
Yeah,
If you can try to understand how that feels, can you feel
yeah.
empathy for American soldiers,
I
Michael?
mean,
I know you can't feel empathy for other colored nations, but can you feel empathy for American soldiers that step on IEDs? Can you feel that empathy, or is that
yeah.
too much?
I mean,
You
my
just like
thing
Trump now?
is,
Okay.
I just want to just say though, if he really feels that Russia is a communist country, he should listen to Putin's speeches.
He's not gonna, bro.
He
Good
literally
suggestion.
talks shit about communism and talks shit
It doesn't
about
matter.
the
It doesn't
leaders in the
jive with
past.
his
How
fucking
is he a
his
communist
alpha.
when
His
he's
alpha told
shitting
him.
on the past revolutionaries that
His alpha
created
was sent by
USSR?
God and Jesus to save
It's
us
a
from the Democrats.
it's the biggest contradiction on the planet right now to even
Yeah.
think that he, who is the richest man in Europe, a lot of people
So
don't know how rich he is. He's the richest man in Europe, but he's a communist.
guys, this is
Like
why sometimes it gets really like hard to like continue to do these live streams because like these people literally just don't stop being dumb as fuck and they don't listen to anything you say, especially if you're black.
Fidel Castro died a
I'm
broke
like
man. Why?
literally
Because he
I'm
was
just
a
over it.
communist. They don't get wealth. They don't
Anyway,
accumulate wealth. They throw it to the people.
so
They throw it
we need
out.
to conserve our energy and fucking go on the offensive and win this election, Jamar. That's how
Yes.
I think that's going forward during this election season. I think we need to start. I'm going to start. I'm not going to tell you what to do because this is a free country and you have inalienable rights, life, liberty, and happiness. But what I'm gonna do is I'm done with these Marianne Williamson. I'm done with uh, RFK. He was a fun ride. He was right about vaccines. At the end of the day, he's a Democrat, and I will never vote for a Democrat. He's damaged goods because there's a D next to his name. I want this to be like Tombstone, where Wyatt Earp says, hell's coming with me. And there's not a goddamn cowboy that runs anywhere east of the Mississippi River. You know what I'm saying? I will take the fucking bandana, Democrat bandana, off these motherfucking cowboys. I will kill every cowboy. I'm going to be Wyatt motherfucking Earp. Hell's coming with me. That's what I'm saying, bro. Fuck these RFK. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if you. I hope you, all of you that support him, I hope you all go through exactly what we went through in the fucking primaries of 2016.
Oh, they
And I
are.
hope you learned something, because I didn't.
They will.
Anyway.
Bernie
Y'all always,
hurt the shit out of me.
I mean, he did. He made us smarter, stronger. That's why we can win. That's what I'm saying. So I'm giving you guys a good message with the solution. I'm saying we have an electoral victory that is in our taking, within our grasp. And all we need to do is take it, seize the opportunity, and not falter or be weak. We have to be strong. What, Jamar, you have any last words for this live stream on the spoiler issue?
Michael is welcome to come on my show so I can teach him a lesson about how Russia is not.
He's not. He's banned on mine. Okay.
And there has never been a communist country that ever was created. Just to let you know, Michael. They're all socialists.
I'll watch that show for sure.
They were all fucking socialists. They tried to create communism. The theory, communism's a theory. It's not real. It's not real right now.
I mean, it's real to him. It's real to him because he was spoon-fed it. But Michael's not allowed to come on my show until he makes a public apology to the gay community, and I hear him apologize to the gay community in a public apology that unites the country and actually rightfully resolves the solution of your problem, which is grooming. You have a real problem. You have a real issue. I would appreciate it if you stop distracting from attacking marginalized groups and start focusing on your fucking problems. I think that you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So you're not allowed on the show until you make a public apology. And I see contrite sadness and sincerity in your eyes. Because you really need to be humbled, and you need to fucking beg for forgiveness. I just want to let you know that. And we're not going to take it like we did in the 90s, just so you know. Anyway, guys, I got a lot of anger. I feel like Jimmy Dore today. But, guys, beyond it all, be free-thinking and innovative and open-minded. Make sure that you solve our problems, with the aspect of, promoting the general welfare and shit. But, guys, we're going to go. We had a big show. Have a great